What are the financial forces driving Asia's rise, from transnational business expansions and technology for digital growth to untapped opportunities in the region and beyond? Understand the trends, innovations and corporate deals that are building Asia. On Asia First, Monday mornings on CNA.
Updating this hour's top stories. Tokyo and other parts of Japan will likely face an extended state of emergency ahead of the Olympic Games. Victoria is back on another lockdown as Australian authorities race to track the spread of a highly infectious coronavirus variant. Hong Kong media tycoon Jimmy Lai sentenced to another 14 months in jail for marching in an unauthorized assembly when anti-government protests took place. The US is intensifying its rivalry with China with fresh calls to investigate the origins of the coronavirus and with a tech bill to counter the country's growing influence. The US has asked the WHO to carry out a second phase of its investigation into the origins of the virus. It wants independent experts to have full access to original data and samples in China. Yesterday, President Joe Biden asked the US intelligence to further look into the origins of COVID-19. The US intelligence community says its agencies had two theories on how COVID-19 came about: that it could have emerged naturally from human contact with infected animals, or that it could have been a lab accident in Wuhan. The National Intelligence Chief, though, shot down those theories. It says the supporting evidence was far from conclusive. China has slammed Mr. Biden's call for a fresh probe.
美方根本不在乎事实和真相，也没有兴趣进行严肃的科学溯源，而是想借疫情搞污名化和政治操弄，甩锅推责。这是对科学的不尊重，对人民生命的不负责，更是对全球团结抗疫努力的破坏。
President Joe Biden has picked his new ambassadors to China and India. Simon Marks tells us more about Nicholas Burns as potentially the next US ambassador to China and why there's been a delay by the White House in announcing nominees for US envoys to various nations.
So we're hearing that Nicholas Burns, former US ambassador to NATO, a man with an absolutely extensive curriculum vitae, working for the State Department in a whole variety of different locations and positions, is the man being tipped to head to China. He has described China as the biggest challenge that the United States is currently facing on the world stage, and he will bring decades of experience to the role if he is nominated and then if he is confirmed in the post by the United States Senate. It seems pretty clear that the Biden administration wants to put all of these names out simultaneously and wants to do so in a bid to demonstrate diversity, gender diversity, diversity of viewpoints and approaches. This is unusual. We've not seen this in Washington, D.C. in the recent past, and there will be critics of this approach who say, for example, the United States right now desperately needs an ambassador to Israel. So why delay naming the administration's nominee for that position while you're getting all of these other names finalized on the document, rather than fill some of the positions that are vacant right now and urgently need fillings? This is an administration that truly values diversity and wants to show that in its ambassadorial appointments, as in everything else, it has sought to achieve that.
Google has failed to block a US class action lawsuit over gender pay disparity brought on behalf of almost 11,000 women. 4 women sued their former employer over claims that Google pays men more for doing the same job. The case seeks more than $600 million in damages. And Google is alleged to have paid women less salary, smaller bonuses, and less stock compared with men in similar positions. The tech giant refuted the allegations and had tried to block the plaintiffs in their bid to represent a larger group in the lawsuit. Trial for the case is expected to start next year. Sexism in Japan in the spotlight again, and this time in the education sector. A new study by Japanese newspaper The Mainichi has found that girls still need higher scores to get into 80% of Tokyo's public high schools. That's despite attempts to fix the discrepancies. Since 1998, Tokyo's education board has been applying corrective measures to nearly 40 schools every year. Before that, about 90% of high schools had different entrance scores for boys and girls. But it seems nothing much has changed in the last 5 years. Tokyo's public high schools also have separate enrollment caps based on the ratio of boys to girls at junior high schools. Japan's education ministry admits this system is not ideal, but maintains that it's logical. Now, this isn't the first time Japan has come under fire for gender inequality. In 2018, at least 9 medical schools were found to have manipulated admissions to exclude female students. All denied any wrongdoing. Singapore authorities have notified a social media platform, MeWe, they must remove an offending poll that ranks female asatizas or religious teachers based on their sexual attractiveness. The Infocom Media Development Authority says the content has breached the Internet Code of Practice as it constitutes prohibited material. IMDA has also contacted other major social media players to ensure the poll is not circulated. Singapore's Minister of Communications and Information, Josephine Teo, who's also chairman of the People's Action Party Women's Wing, says she's appalled by the poll. She has condemned it in the strongest terms. She says this is a deliberate exercise to demean women, especially those who have dedicated themselves to upholding their faith. The minister also adds MCI will continue its work to protect women and girls from online harm. MCI Parliamentary Secretary Rahayu Marjam deeply appreciates the clear stance that IMDA has taken on the issue, and she says such disrespectful content about female asatizas has no place in society. She adds that the ministry is working on a Singapore Together Alliance for Action against online harms targeting women and girls. Discussions led by the AFA work group have highlighted the importance of cultivating a culture of respect for Singaporean women, both online and offline. She adds that behaviours perpetuating sexual harassment must be condemned. She hopes all Singaporeans, both men and women, will work towards a safer and more responsible online culture here and with mutual respect for all. Well, Henry is back in a moment with your Asia Business Update, plus what people in Singapore are doing to help fill their time amid border closures and travel restrictions. And we'll look at how rising sea temperatures are triggering severe storms in India.